Hey everyone, welcome back with a new lecture with ISO 9001 2015 edition, and now operation. Operation is very important, and under operation we have operational planning and control. How to plan well to provide the customer with a product or service with a high quality, and what are the processes required to achieve this objective, and how can you control these processes to achieve this objective. So organization shall plan, implement and control processes as mentioned and explained before in subclause 4.4.1 to activate the process approach as I explained before, and also to implement the actions determined to control these processes as explained before in clause number 6, planning. And that will be by determining the requirement for product and service. You have to define at the beginning the customer requirement related to his product or service, and then based on the customer requirement that will be defined, should be defined well, you will have the resources required to achieve his objective or to achieve his requirements. And at the end, because of this, you will get product with the high quality, product or service with the high quality. And also by establishing criteria for the processes. Process approach has to be activated as I explained before. It's very important to define what are the processes inside the organization and how these processes will be performed, and how can you make coordination between all of them to get the highest performance from all of them, and what are the criteria required to control each process to get the highest performance. So organization need to define how processes will be performed and what are the criteria required to control each process to ensure the highest performance, as I explained before in clause 4 to how to make the process approach. And also they shall establish criteria for acceptance for product and service. At the beginning, you have to ask the customer about his requirements relating to his product or service. Then you will have the resources required to achieve his requirement, and at the end you have to have some acceptance criteria for this product and service determined by the customer and by the organization, also to ensure at the end customer satisfaction, and also by determining the resources needed to achieve the conformity to the product and service requirement. Based on the customer requirement relating to his product or service, you shall have the resources required to achieve the conformity to these requirements. So all resources shall be available, and by implementing also control of the processes, and this is very important, what are the controls that you will implement for each process to achieve the highest performance from each process in accordance with the criteria. So what are the criteria for acceptance of the final product, and how to control processes, how to control each process in the process approach to achieve the highest performance and get at the end the highest quality of your product or service provided to the customer. Also, it's very important to keep all documented information related to the process to ensure the conformity of product or service to the requirement of the customer. So by determining, maintaining and retaining documented information shall be retained to have confidence that the processes carried out as planned. So all procedures shall be recorded, and all data related to these processes also shall be recorded. So if the customer has any issue about or complain about his product or service, he can ask, and you can give him the evidence that everything carried out as planned. So also to demonstrate the conformity of product or service to the requirements. And you should know that output of this planning shall be suitable for the organization's operation. The output or product shall be conform to the requirement of the customer and shall be suitable for the organization's operations. And if in case of any changes happening during this process, shall be controlled and reviewed to ensure the conformity of product or service to the requirement. And also outsourced process such as external provider, or if you have subcontractor with any other organization, that shall be controlled by the organization to ensure the conformity of product or service also to the requirement, and to ensure that at the end you will get the highest quality for your product or service. And to simplify this sub-clause, first you shall determine the requirement of the customer relating to his product or service, and based on this you will determine the resources required to get that product. So resources are the inputs to the output, and after that the performance of processes, each process shall be controlled to get the highest performance from each process, to get the highest quality of the product or service. And there should be criteria for acceptance of the final product also shall be determined. And then controls should be taken. Controls should be taken to get the acceptance criteria. You shall have some controls for each process, and all resources for these controls also shall be available, and all documented informations related to the whole process shall be retained, from procedures, forms, lists, records. All data shall be retained in the documented informations to ensure the performance of each process and to ensure the conformity of product or service to the requirement. And after that, at the end, you will get the product or service with a high quality as required by the customer. And in case of any change, that shall be planned and controlled to ensure that nothing affect the conformity of the product or service.